what happens is it connects to the different platforms, and it takes probably 30 seconds and then another minute and a half for people to come in.
Oh, yeah.
So you can, it's your show.
It's such an honor to be doing this on your network, man. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate
Yeah, man.
it.
I'm digging your work. I went back and looked at your page, and you've changed a lot.
Wow,
I look at,
man.
I
Yeah.
look at, I
Did
look
you
at
go
some.
like way back, kind of like back to the beginning, or?
I think I was just on the front page, and then I saw a picture at the corner of my eye, and your hair was very short. And yeah, but I look at mine. I look at stuff I did 2 years ago, and I'm going, holy crap! I thought we're supposed to be getting younger.
It's supposed to be going the other way, right? I love that.
Right.
Yeah. Hopefully internally we're getting younger, though. I'm hoping. I kind of feel like I'm not reaching, but hopefully, yeah. Hopefully the soul, and yeah, hopefully we're getting younger.
Yeah. I mean, I don't feel like I'm getting older. Do you?
Actually, I really don't. To tell you the truth,
most of the people I talk to don't really feel like they're getting older. They may not feel like they're getting younger, but there has been a lot of what we would call miraculous cures. I mean, and then like stuff on a milder level. I just woke up. Like, I had chronic back issues for 12 years, very debilitating, lost some muscle in my lower back, and that all came back.
oh
So
man,
I think there's a lot of stories like that, but I think we'll see
yeah.
more evidence of it. So I think we've got, let's see, what do we got here? 23 people. So you want to tell everybody what we're doing? I mean, because I think it's important,
Yeah.
that they know why we're doing this. So this is your show. Soulogy Network, Soulogy One Studios has produced a lot of shows over the year. And that's part of what we'd like to end up at, is where we have a 24/7, 365, multiple channel, handheld accessible, universal cast running all the time. People can plug in, create their own channels. And so that's always been part of the dream. So when I came across your stuff, I'm like, yeah, this is really good. You're a very good host and interviewer. You're very, balanced, masculine, and feminine. So I'm like, hey, you want to do the show? Because you asked me to be on your show. I said, you want to do the show on the network and get the word out. So this is the ONEConsciousness Deep Conversations podcast. And I'm a guest. So
Wow.
I'm going to let you take
Beautiful.
over.
Thank you so much, brother. I was going to say, in fact, just what you said, I feel like that is like the perfect. If I were just to, if someone wanted to know why I, reached out to you and wanted to be able to speak to you, it was really about, and of course the podcast, and really where I've been is that I really want to, I guess what it's kind of evolved into, where I want to actually really honor people's journey by being able to actually listen. And I don't really have any pre-prescribed questions, or I don't have like a list of, there's maybe a few common questions that I ask, but really, to tell you the truth with you, what I was going to say to you is just what you spoke of in terms of your vision. And there's actually two reasons why I wanted to have this conversation with you and hear about your journey, because I honor this so much, what you have done with the Soulogy One Network and what you're doing every day with people. And I was going to tell you the other thing that really was the big reason that I reached out is, obviously I love what you're doing here. And this is the nerve center for me. This is where I go, every day when I want to find out what's going on and learning from all kinds of people and getting all kinds of perspectives. And it helps me determine where why I'm feeling a certain way energetically. And so it really does make me feel like I'm not alone. I really do feel that sense. And so the other thing I was going to say to you is that over the years that I've been watching you, one of the things I honor about you so much, brother, is that you have shared so much about yourself. And to me, that is something that it really deeply moves me. I've heard you having conversations with people where you speak a lot about your own journey and your own evolution and where you've been. And I literally, even before we talked earlier this week, I really feel like I know you on a different level. I mean, it feels like that somehow that maybe we've known each other in a previous life. And I really do feel that connection with you. And I really feel like that's all due to you being so completely open about who you are, where you've been, where you're going. And that's why I'm just so thrilled to have this opportunity. Clearly, I know I don't know everything, but I've just been able to, pick up bits and pieces of who you are and where you've been. So really what my vision was for today was to have an opportunity to kind of talk to you more in detail about that. And, it doesn't even have to necessarily be linear, but I wanted to really start off by asking you, all of this work that you are doing currently, with the Soulogy One Network, with the Soulogy Fest, with, all of the, being involved with people, having these conversations every day. And I really give it up for you for the energy that you have for doing this. If I could ask you what this means to you at a deeper level in your own words.
Man, I've been looking for a backup host for a long time. You don't script any questions, and very cool. And you asked a very good, comprehensive question. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you mentioned the different perspectives that that you see on the show. And I too feel like that the energy of the show and really the community, because the show itself, I think, is just an expression verbalized. And it's not just the two people talking. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's that whole vortex, like Abraham Hicks says. So there's a constant change in perspective with awareness. And for me, it's, I look back at 10 years and I'm going, I feel like I just woke up, and so I look at it all, and I think we all do this. I don't think we really appreciate our wake up experience. I don't think we really appreciate the incredible divine episodes we've had on an individual level, our personal transformation, elevation, the things that the universe showed us and did for us that weren't normal up to that point in our lives. I mean, there was too much stuff going on. So, I've learned, as I become more present, because I think we're all becoming more present, my perspective has obviously changed. I learned to appreciate the past, but at the same time, it just seems like a very now type of thing. So to answer your question, I look at Soulogy, with Soulogy One Studios, Soulogy Network, the Soulogy Fest, like you brought up. And I just look at that. I've always understood Soulogy to be a small mirror of the universe. That's the intention. The intention is to walk the talk. The intention is to create a space where everybody's safe and can be themselves, where everybody's included. There's no rules. There's no doctrine at Soulogy. A lot of people say, where's the Soulogy book? There's not. There's no dogma. It's just an energy. And it's, I don't know. I think it's just a reflection of what we're all going through is what I'm saying. So when I look at everything that's happening, I look at the collective energy and within myself, aligning with my missions, aligning with my truth and my love and my desires, and in that beautiful, incredible place where we converge all of these streams that make us up and try to create the best thing we can. And I think we're all doing it. And I see Soulogy as being a part of that. And I also know that Soulogy is going to just take off without me. It's already there. There's been so many connections made over the years, and people have said what you had just said a minute ago about coming to a place where you're not the only crazy person, and this is actually the reality is what we're all diving into. But yeah, I think that it's a name for the one thing that we all are and are a part of. You can call it Holy Spirit. It's just a little pocket. It's just a little show, in the infinite road. And I think that's another thing that we're doing. I think we're getting a hang on all this, and we can start to have some fun with it. And yeah, this is the best part. So I hope that answered your question.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Thank you. Thank you so much. No, that's beautiful. In fact, and I was going to, the temptation was, and I still do want to do this. I would love to, to talk to you more and hear from you would be the thing I really am interested in, just about your spiritual journey. And I realize there are, different phrases for that, but, because of it's so easy for me to sense how important all of this is to your heart. I mean, I feel like, I don't know if you can there again, this is just, not an opinion, but it's just a feeling that I don't know if you can separate Soulogy from Todd Medina. I definitely understanding what you're saying, but yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting, because ever since I was a little kid, as far as I can remember, the word soul always just like it was imprinted. You know what I mean? On my third eye, up here in the visor of my third eye. But I was given the name specifically in 2012, March the 10th. And I was told, I said, well, what is that? And they said, the other side of truth. And I said, what is that? And they said, go find out. And I always understood I always understood that whatever was communicating with me had the same type of personality I had the same everything. So I don't really know how to explain that. I think it has something to do with agreements made before we came here. I mean, I was in a monad with Morgan about 2 years ago. We were physically in the monad. There was 24 of us. We were in Hawaii. We were laying in bed, in the moment, and we connected. We both left our bodies. We're both standing in this monad, and we were told, this is the first time you've been physically conscious in this monad in 60 years. And at the time, I'm 58, 57. So I did the math real quick, and they said, you come every night. But 60 years ago, it was kind of an activation. This is when this monad agreed to this part of the mission being Soulogy, and you two agreed to come down here and do this, right?
Wow.
So there's a lot to it, but I think that as far as how, the way I see it, because nothing happened in linear order, right? So in the linear timeline, 4 or 5 years into it, Morgan steps in and everything shifts. Todd shifts, Soulogy, and then this whole feminine masculine thing started. She actually called for a place, I believe it was in 2008 or 2009, about, several years after she woke up. She actually put out to the universe, I want to create a space where everybody can come and share their stories and their gifts and their abilities and their souls. She actually called that out. So there's all these elements. There's all these elements to it. And I look at things as consciousness. So like, if you look at, for instance, Jesus, I don't know what Jesus did when he walked the earth. I don't even know if he walked the earth. It depends on what timeline you're on, right? Yeah. But what I do know is that there is a consciousness that I might call Jesus out there that has been created, nurtured, and expanded by a collective energy complex, what we might call souls. And I see everything kind of like that now, especially as we're in this age of the Trinity, where two or more come together, there's a third energy created. This is divine union. This is what Morgan and I are physicalizing, and many, many people in romantic and non-romantic relationships all around the world. But, I think that Soulogy's a consciousness, Todd's a consciousness, you're a consciousness, Morgan's a consciousness. And then there's this place where we come together, and that's where I think that's what the cycle is all about. And I also think that's where we are in not just a collective level like Earth or even the solar system or galaxy. I think this is an entire universal coming home party or something, because it's getting better every day.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. And I appreciate you sharing all that, brother. And I was going to ask you as well, just anything that you might want to share, maybe what was this like in the early stages, once you first, went on, when you kind of went on air, so to speak, just maybe getting some sense of what that was like for you.
Well, it's so, okay. I mean, I'm so glad I just gave that answer I gave a second ago, because if I tell the story like this, it's more like a cartoon or a comic book. So I'll just run through it real quick, because the real emphasis is what I just said. The story itself, I think, has like a hero's journey, like all of our lives, but it was I mean, it to me, it's less important now, but I do appreciate it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's real short. I'm married, going to the business world, divorce, marry again in the business world. I'm on the train. I'm on the train and I'm the alpha dog, right? And so this goes on. I got 6 kids. I got 4 in the house. I got somebody really sick in the house. A lot of crazy stuff went on. Boom, boom, boom. I wake up 1:11 in the morning. 10 years ago, this May 30th, I was outside teaching myself how to dance. I look up in the trees and I see the face. I see this big light. And I see eventually kind of clears, and it's the face of Jesus, right? In the trees.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I said, and he was laughing. And I said, what's going on? He said, well, what are you worried about? And I said, what do you mean, what am I worried about? I'm on welfare. I got a really sick family member. Everything's going up in smoke. I'm mentally, emotionally, physically gone. And he says, I don't know what you're worried about, because I've been watching over your family for a year and a half. Well, a year and a half earlier, my wife at the time had eaten 50 Tylenol PMs, died in my arms, and came back. And that was another story.
Oh, man.
So when he said that, this wave of like peace, and if you ever had an out of body experience or near death experience, that feeling, and but it was literally like a wave. It just went, and came down over me. And I was like, wow. I was just like, whoa, that was the biggest bomb hit I've ever taken in my life. That was a head rush. I mean, it was just instantaneous. So then I looked back up, and he said to me, and he was laughing harder. and I like a heyoka, right? And I said, what's up with that? And he said, well, because he was looking at me like a parent looks at a kid when they're upset and taking something too seriously. It was kind of like that. And so I said, what's up with that? And he said, you're the one of the unshakable faith. Your life's going to turn upside down tomorrow, and we're going to find out. Just remember, you'll never be alone, and you'll never be forsaken. It was like he was saying, pass the butter, please. Wow. It was that casual. And so then that's what happened. The next morning I woke up, and everything was gone. 42 hours later, I got no house, no car, no money, no job, no kids in the house for the first time in 23 years, no marriage, no nothing, no reputation, no nothing. And 6 weeks later, I walked out of that place, and I, by my own choice, I went homeless. And so I did that for 2 years. Probably a third of the time I slept on the street, a third in a hotel, and a third on a friend's couch. 10, 12 months into that, I got a job. I worked my way up. I was at a restaurant, got back on my feet. I was also on probation. I also went to detox, or whatever you call it, rehab, down in the hood for 90 days. But what was happening was, from that point, March the 10th, 2012, I was told, I opened a Facebook group. I said, what am I supposed to do? Open a Facebook group. I'm hardly even on Facebook. I just discovered it. So I made the group, and then what I would do is, during that 2 years, I'd be walking the streets, and I was writing and just sending up, and kind of building the group idea, just letting people be themselves, poetry, just whatever, and not dictating. Never been a rule in the Soulogy group, and we've never really had a problem, which is a testament to the power of intentional energy, especially in collaboration. So anyway, yeah, I did that for 2 years. I came off the street. I got a laptop. I started putting images to my words and words to images. I did about 1,500 memes. And then this would have been, it was, let's see, what was it? It was 3 years later, on the same day. I'm living in a townhouse now. I got a den downstairs and a kitchen and an eating area, just a big open den. And me and my girls, I had 13-year-old and 14-year-old with me, my two youngest. Single parent, trying to do Soulogy, just writing. And I was upstairs in my room, and I heard Soulogy One Studios. And I said, what does that mean? And they said, it has to do with music. Just go make a studio downstairs. So I did. And I sat around for 3-4 months.
Wow.
I think I made 2 videos, and they were like a minute to 2 minutes long.
Yeah.
It was very confronting. And then one weekend, because I wrote a lot of prose and poetry. I listened to a lot of music. I knew there was a connection. There was a lot of other stuff going on. I could tell the story, but it's way too long. But what ended up happening was I was about, and this is another thing, I was about 5 days before I met Morgan Lee. I could feel these incredible things happening. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I'm sitting there. Everyone tells me I'm crazy. I got 4 couches in my downstairs, a studio, $60 speakers. I mean, a phone. I didn't even have internet. So I sat for 2 days. It was like from a Friday night till Sunday night. I think it was. I want to say it was like August 30th, and I didn't know what to do. I just sat there. And so finally, I just jumped up off the couch. I got this phone, the phone I had, which someone had just given to me. And because I had never had a smartphone even. And I jumped off the couch. I went to the computer, and I put in The Doors, Break On Through to the Other Side.
Oh, yeah.
And I just I turned it on, and I just went, hey, it's Todd Medina from Soulogy. And I just started talking.
Oh, man.
Yeah, dude, I did that. And and from that point, in the next not gonna know this because I made a video. I had to stop for like 3 weeks because I got burned out. I made 400 videos in 9 months.
Wow.
So
man.
I was making, and then I started getting into reading my poetry to music, and then I started writing and doing these video productions, Soul Speaks music videos, where I'd take all different types of music and beats and, and just different things and play with it and speak and melody and just whatever. And then I attracted other people that were doing that type of stuff. And then I would put it together. And a lot of this has been coming back together, bringing it all together, like in an ensemble type of collaboration, overall within the ensembles within. And there's been a regroup. And I feel like right now, this is another big one coming up like this. Yeah, so, I mean, the story itself is pretty funny. I mean, when I was on the streets, I was literally holding the hand of a devil straight up and an angel on the other hand. I was having divine episodes. I had apparitions. I had all kinds of stuff, animal experiences. But I was raised in hell. And at 50 years old, I was learning how to dance to electronic music and hip hop, and got pretty good at it. And I was in a lot of the any place that was open, and a lot of the underground sections of Houston, Texas, but underground parties, underground scenes. But it was a very powerful trip. It was a very lonely trip, and I think it was the same trip we've all had. I think all of our pain is the same. It's just proportionate to our life experience. Everything, we're all the heroes. Every single one of us. I don't care who it is. Anyone that showed up on this planet, anyone. I don't care if it was for one life or 10,000 like I've had, but you're a hero. You are gallant. You are valiant. You are revered, honored, respected, and loved, and never more than now. Because now we're in this spot where we can say, oh, we got enough information. We realize that there's some kind of direct relation. Everything's expanding, including my capabilities, which might become supernatural very soon. And yet there's this invisible thing happening, these cycles, these things coming together, these ensemble collaborations, and this expanding, whatever you want to call it, frequency of love, creation. And it's like you're riding a big wave, and you're on top of the wave. And it's one thing to ride it, but it's another thing to go into that little tunnel like the surfers do, and play with it and make it the best you can. I think we're in that point, that type of potential.
Man, that's beautiful. I appreciate, and I really do. I appreciate that, because I feel like there's somebody, and I love how you said that too, that the story is the story. But I feel like this is, there's so much more to it that you're weaving into this, which is just, it's absolutely beautiful. And but I know that it's just flowing. That this is just you. This is just emanating from you the way that it does, and I honor that. I definitely do.
I don't know. There was, I don't know, like 10 things when I went on the streets. I mean, it was intense, dude. I was in a constant communion. I mean, I never heard the term shadow work or zero pointing, but I know one thing. In those 2 years, I was busting it. I was cutting all the demons' heads off, and it was there was always whatever that was, and it came in the form of ascended masters, divine essences like Jesus and the Magdalene, Kuan Yin, and the spirit guides and other things, right? But whatever that is that was talking to me, or that talks to me, or talks to us, or however you put that, because anything external to me really is that. But I'm talking about when, in our wake-up experience, it always spoke in very simple terms. I am soul, number one. That's it. That's all there is to it. I am soul, period. Another one would have been like, there is one. There is a perfect order to the universe. You can call it the golden rule, or, cause and effect, whatever. And we are all one unique and equal soul. So in the paradox of the universe, we are all of that, but we're also this one unique little piece with its own little, energy signature. And that holds true in all incarnations, dimensions, timelines. And that's a powerful, powerful, godly thing. So it would tell me these types of things. And one of the things it said to me was, as the individual goes, so goes the collective. So oftentimes we look at people and we think, that's a mirror. I'm not like that. And we get caught up in all the, you know what I mean? The stuff we don't want to look at in ourselves that takes a while. But we're also mirrors of the divine. And what we're seeing in each other is what we're beginning to see in ourselves. So we're all reflecting off of each other. And so I really, appreciate the comments. I feel like that I represent what we all represent, which is a reflection of what we're all doing. Because I still think that we're all beating at the same vibration. It just doesn't look that way.
Yeah.
We're never going to be that smart. So there's something about, people have been talking about childlike wonder and innocence, purity, curiosity of a child. But if you think about when we were children, we didn't think about anything. We were sensitive beings, sensitive to our feelings, sensitive to our own vibration, sensitive to the vibration of others. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's, I think, where we're being guided to. And the only resistance that's left now, and we've taken a beating, right? So we don't need to harp on, because it was the hero's journey. And what we actually did in the gutter is what the payoff is for the universe. How did these people go down, these souls go down and get in this density and just dig it out in the dirt, in the grime? I mean, we're data, we're code, we're expansive code of original templates in the flesh, real time, and the whole universe is benefiting. What does that look like in the spiritual body? What does that look like? I mean, there's just so here we are, and I think it's time to push the envelope. I mean, how do you explain a man being half a world apart from his beloved, who he knows? There's no labels. I mean, and in the 2 or 3 weeks that we've been supposedly separated, we've had incredible, things occur of a very physical nature when we're half a world apart. And not only that, we've grown more connected and stronger every day. Well, how does this work? This is a replica. This isn't about Todd Morgan, and it's not about Todd or about Soulogy. This is a replica at a minimum of the potential that's out there and available and accessible for everybody. And probably closer to, this is what everybody's experiencing. We just need to like take our blind, and remove the lenses and look a little closer. It's right in front of our face. So.
Yeah, man. Thank you. I was going to mention to you, it's interesting, watching, you speaking with people and watching this over the years as I have, and then to have the opportunity to be here earlier this week with you, when you're talking about all that in terms of that reflection. What is so interesting to me is that I never got more of a powerful sense of that and how you are reflecting those things, except when I actually had the opportunity to sit here with you, on Monday. And there's almost not words to describe that in terms of just the freedom and the expansiveness of just being here with you and having that conversation with you. And it's almost like I was going to say, I honor you so much for that, because I sense that, I felt like I didn't know, kind of like I mentioned to you then, I didn't know what we were going to talk about. I wasn't even worried. And it's almost like what was coming to me was, don't worry about it, Jeff. It's, it's right. And for me, that's not really naturally how I am. I'll admit to you, I'm not the kind of guy that just, goes into something unknown with ease, but I really feel like that is what's coming through you and from you, both. I don't know. And I know these are just words at the end of the day.
Well, no. And again, I think so much of what we see again, what we recognize, we're actually coming into alignment. You know what I mean? So we're pulling closer, that magnetism that, so this, again, I don't know. To me, oneness is beyond we're equal. Oneness is everything. Everything is everything. That's why we can deal with anything. We can work with the energy of anything. This computer, and I've done it many times, and endless examples. But I forgot what you said.
I was just kind of talking about, just your energy, and sorry about that. Just in terms
of no. I know what I was going to say. Okay,
sorry.
So no, I got it. Thank you for reminding me. So I've gotten this over and over and over again. One, and again, we're talking energy. So whether it's a show, a network, a conversation, a field of energy, that you're adding frequencies. The universe doesn't go backwards and it doesn't go stagnant. So it's always adding new frequencies. How can you add new frequencies if everything was made at the same time? And all that is that.
Yeah.
I think we think of even the universe as being a finite box. The universe doesn't even know where the hell it came from. All right. So the way that the new frequencies are added are by new things, which are new creations and new births. And we're becoming conscious creators. And I think that's part of what you're seeing. And I think that's part of what we're experiencing. The other thing that you pointed out that I think are adjectives of that energy field, which is something that I've said many times on here, just because it came through me. I'm just the one it came through. It's no big deal. But it's spontaneity, intuition, creativity, imagination, and depending on what we're talking about or doing, courage. These, to me, this is what I've been programmed to do. So this, maybe I recognize it more and I can explain it, but this is what I see. We are all, as we come into alignment, however you want to say this, with full awareness or omniscience or whatever the case is, we're actually, what's happening is we're becoming that. So we are all, oneness is obviously not separating yourself from anything. We're looking at things and been challenged with things in this polarity. How can that narcissist be me? I'm an empath, so there's been this kind of thing going. And now that wall's kind of going down, and it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird because we're in this space of, well, I love you, but I don't like you. right? And that's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're going to this space of, and that's uncomfortable, and it's in putting pressure on the way we connect and the way we communicate and the way we speak and the way we think and everything. But at the same time, each step of the way, regardless of how uncomfortable it might get at times, there's this ongoing feeling that everything's going our way. And that's the truth. And it's not happening in the place that we've normally looked to give us our feedback on how is the earth doing, like newspapers and TV shows and movies. It's happening at this level right here. It's happening, and it's much, much bigger than people even in our community think. I've seen it in the etheric field, and I'm not going to ask anybody to base it on that. I'm just going to take this one example. You've got 81 people plus the people on the website, me and you. You have no linear, so everyone that is exposed to this, it's not a show. It's an energy. It's an energy complex made up of pieces of us that are both within and without. Right? I mean, and it runs on purity, no agenda, spontaneity, intuition, creativity, so on and so on, and that's what we're doing. And it's under the radar. So, the ETs, the Men in Black, the Illuminati, none of them can detect us, and even if they could, we can't stop love.
Man, yes. Yeah, I really, and I was going to say that's, when I got on here with you on Monday, it was really kind of an interesting experience. It was a really interesting experience, actually, that I had like this concept is almost like in a way I was very comfortable, but it was like I was resting in this energy, and I felt like I could just be here with you. But I had flashes of moments where I started trying to grasp for myself. In other words, I was almost as if I'd never been in a space like this before, and just energetically. And it was almost like I was okay with not knowing where we were going to go with the conversation, but there was this very much of this comforting reassurance that came from the space, from you. And yet I could still feel myself. I had those human moments where I kind of like I would just get a glimpse of myself, trying to second guess myself, or not, not trying to figure out, okay, how am I doing in this? What is going on? What am I, I was almost worried about maybe I was getting too comfortable. But yeah, it all.
Let's try to do that. Try to do. Yeah, it's not the red pill, the green pill. It's a chill pill.
Yes.
I mean, look. Okay, another one of these little short, profound three word phrases that they was. Well, let's say. Wait a minute. There was if it doesn't make sense, do it. And that one went with shut up and do it. Don't think, just do. I mean, and going back to the reason I started laughing is because another thing they told me was because we all get our information, and no matter what we think of ourselves and our abilities, we're getting it from each other. We're getting it all the time.
Yeah.
And we might over identify with what we get from up here, right?
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, well, when I met Morgan, my war cry was, I am soul. I am not just a human being. And sometimes I would say I'm not a human being. And then I met her, and again, I think this is a representative of what's happened collectively, because the feminine frequency has come up to as this whole thing's coming into balance. So what does it look like? The short version is you cannot find your soul till you find your human. So I thought I knew a lot. I was chilling with, some ascendeds and the angels and, in 5 years, and I'm doing Soulogy and I'm living on the streets and I don't know how the hell I'm doing this. And I'm in the gutter at night and I'm flying in the clouds the next day, every day, for this. And so I'm thinking, I don't know what's going on here, but it feels pretty biblical. I didn't even know other people were going through it. Right. So when I came
Yeah.
off the street and I started interacting with people, I started to slowly realize some terms, ascension and all that. But, and then like when I met her, I think there was 18,000 people in Soulogy. And
Oh, wow.
there was so on the linear, it looks, man, you know the story because I said it at the beginning of the show, the way it really
Yeah.
happens. So when she came in and we started to connect, you know, and I started to understand that I had shadow. There was things that no matter how badass my connection is with the universe, we all have programs running. We all do. And so the journey to me now, that's why was she actually created. The human is the hero because the human is the final alignment. The human is on point. And so here we go with this expectation we have from our conditioning that when we get there, it's going to look like this. And it's not. We're going to look like this. This is the disclosure. This is, how does a woman on the other side of the world, how does a man's intention reach her at a physical level with no communication and no nothing, no planning, no nothing? How does that happen? There are parts of us that are coming into our consciousness that are coming on, albeit slowly maybe, but they're coming and they're part of us. They're part of us. This is the big universal, the God and the goddess laughing. All this time we're looking out here when the real thing is happening here. And that's going to be, that's what we're coming into. We're saying this is sovereignty, that, I am soul. And people are doing it more and more every day, especially since 2020.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I apologize, brother. I just realized too, and I think this is typical of,
What?
I feel like this is what it feels like to be in the space with you. I just realized I didn't even ask you. I want to be very mindful time wise because I know that there's things that that you've got going on. So I definitely did not want to run over or
no. I've got an hour and 10 minutes before my next show, but yeah, we can go to.
Oh, very good. Very good.
Another half hour, whatever you want to do. It's
up to
you. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. I feel better then because I wasn't sure about that. So I thought,
no, I'm good.
Yeah.
See, and this is how things are happening. We didn't plan that. I'm sitting here. I didn't even really. I'd looked you up before when we tried to connect, and I kind of got sick. I was in Texas. I remember.
Oh yeah.
But I hadn't really thought about you. and then we did a show. I said, that guy's really cool. And he's right down the road. He's 2 hours away in Tulsa, which is on the way to Soulogy Fest.
Yes.
And so we'll talk about that later. But yeah. And so, so I get on and I just happen to have one other show today. That's it.
Wow.
So that's not normal. But that's what I'm saying. Part of what is happening, it's like, okay, so these choices that we're making now, to thine own self be true. No ill will towards anybody. And if you have a problem with what I do, then I'm sorry, right? That's what's happening to us. It's a personal sovereignty that will equate to a collective sovereignty at some point. But so it's like, we make these choices and we think, this is the way I see it, we think that we're creating this life by the choices we make. But I think we're actually finding the timeline, our truest timeline, and it's really being made for us. It's already there, kind of thing, right? So, I'm going to be physically teleporting. I'm on the front end of that class. I think the sky's the limit, and why not try?
Oh yeah. Oh man, absolutely.
That's what I was going to say a while ago. Is that I never finished. Was I was told, whatever you do, don't do anything like you've done before. It's like you can take a piece and remix it and then do that, but you can't do what you've done before. And as the journey's gone on, I've realized, that applies more and more and more and more at deeper and deeper levels.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. And I was going to ask as well, kind of going. It's not really a detour at all. I think it's just maybe another aspect of looking at this in a certain way, or the different facets of it. Just because of what I've experienced, through watching, as well as being here with you Monday, just your the way that you are with people, just your energy and the way that you interact with people. I was going to ask you, it'd be very cool just to hear, maybe how that got started and what that was like for you in terms of having people on the show, having conversations. Yeah.
Well, I'll give you the truth. I had trained myself from about 22 or 23 to public speak. I knew that was part of my whatever, and I was very connected then. It was just a very personal thing, no internet and all that stuff, right? And so after, my corporate life, and then, that, and then the build up to the big awakening and 2 years on the street and all that, I knew that would be part of it, the speaking part, right? So I told you I sat there for a weekend. I sat there for 2-3 months. I finally started making videos, and here we go again. And again, the linear timeline explanation doesn't do it justice, but you have to look at it that way. So here we go. And I've probably done, I don't even know. I did a lot of videos, but it's me, right? So I meet Morgan Lee on September the 3rd, 2015 at 3:33 in the morning, Houston, Texas.
Wow, 3:33.
3:33, yeah. It's a long story. I jump off the couch. I said, I need her now. I was going through one of the biggest, most grueling, painful, prolonged, intense, horrible transitions. Wow. But anyway, so we started talking, right? And she says to me, and this is like, we immediately started talking. Everything she was saying, I understood, and she's lit, right? And she understood that I understood it. We really connected, and so whatever. But so she says to me, she tells me eventually, she says, I put this out to the universe in 2008, 2009 about creating this space. At some point she told me that, but the way she said it to me was, you ought to start talking to other people. It's not all about you.
Wow. Yeah.
So, hey, the stupid comes before the wisdom, right? So it was a important moment, because at that point, and that would have been like 2016. I did videos by myself probably for a year and a half, 2 years. So then I started doing them, and I think about a year I did 400, like 300, maybe one a day, right? And I'd interview people or produce somebody's show. Most of the time I was on the camera. She comes over 2018 and she took over. We were at about 350 episodes. We were doing 100 a month.
Wow,
I'm doing
man.
like 6 a day, 7 days. We were cooking. We went, and then all these people started coming on. A lot of people that are, I guess, more known, out there, and we were thankful for that. So, yeah, that's how that went. And the reason I said that is because you asked me what was that like. Well, when I started doing these shows, I didn't train for this. You know what I mean? So, in the fact that I was doing so many, my energy was very obvious, especially to the person who, most likely, if I do have a twin soul, or if I'm half of a soul, that's it, right? So she was constantly, in a good way, telling me, things. And those things were very important because they were pointing things out to me. So there was two things running. There was Todd, the personal development, and Todd on the camera. And she said something to me when I first met her in 2017. And she came over. She said, I'm looking for the day that the voice that you speak to me, the voice that you speak on camera, and another voice. I can't remember which the three were, when they're all the same voice. And I went, whoa, okay. And so that's always been there. So on one hand, I take a beating, or did. I feel good now. I mean, this is all coming together like everything. But you have to admit things to yourself. You have to admit when you're triggered. You have to admit when you were projecting. Yeah, and I'm doing it on camera. I'm showing my ass regularly, right? And people liked it. Not that it was that I was liking it. I'm just saying people liked it when I got emotional, when I got fired up, and I understood that. And I understood that that wasn't a reason for me to keep doing that if that wasn't me in alignment. Thank you, Morgan Lee. Right. So I started to, I guess, that feminine energy started to come in, soften a little bit. You still have power, and the story goes on. And again, a reflection of what's going on in the collective. So it's been an interesting journey, but there's been a whole other aspect of it, which she suggested early on, like 400th episode, and I got all these people coming on, and I'm doing one after the other, and I didn't realize the energetic, decompressions and recompressions and all that. And she said, why don't you meet with their higher self before every show? So I started connecting. And then all kinds of crazy shit happened. I'm talking to people and they're disappearing. I'm talking to people. I'm talking to my brother in Sweden, Broder. And a triangle appeared with 12 beings on it. and he's talking to me, and I'm looking at this damn thing, and I'm going, okay, like, who am I supposed to listen to? And then Broder says, my team would like to give you a message. And I said, I know, they're sitting right here. So all that, a lot of that would happen. I would see a lot of energy hiccups, or, I don't know, to the human aberrations, tech issues. And I started to notice that every time we have tech issues, we have a great show. I'm like, whoa. So I started to look at, discover things like, it's the energy. Just because the energy gets wonky or the lights flicker, it doesn't mean it's an evil spirit. It's actually our connection is so, like, it's what? So just in each one in themselves, creating a lot of sparks, the intention and the desire to come together and create. I mean, there's this massive thing happening, and I noticed it, and it's not a coincidence. So there's a lot of, it's been a great gift. And you were talking about, the show we did the other day. I'm going to say this, but I gotta say something beforehand. Of everything that I've done in the 10 years that I've Soulogy, up until most recently, this was not my favorite thing to do. I would rather have done something else. I would rather be on the stage with a beat, freestyling, and just and that will, I'm sure, will happen. I'm sure, whatever. Yeah. But I've realized that this is the best seat in the house. I have the best job in the universe. So that's why I'll still come when I feel like shit. because it to me, again, it's we're mirrors of the universe. And what does the universe do? It shows up. We're seeing a big example of that now with the feminine energy. It's not only is it showing up, but it's just saying, look behind us, we were always there. You know what I mean? So it's that same constant that we all have, even in these pieces that seem to make us, like gender and, you know, da, da, da. But yeah. So it's a great, it's like, what can I say? I mean, it's incredible, and we're both. This is our child, right? I
Yeah.
mean, so we were told many aunties and uncles would come, and they would see divine love, and I've watched it happen. I've watched it happen in reverse. I mean, but to see things, not just Soulogy, to see things physicalizing that were once woo woo. And we're just stepping our little toe into the big C right now. So, you know, that's what I'm looking at, and I think a big part of it is, and you said something about this earlier, is relax, chill out, have a
Yeah.
laugh, because there's one thing we're not going to get away from, as I see it, and that is the human. The more you love your human, the deeper you go in the soul. And I think we've done a lot of shadow work, a lot of zero pointing. We have more to do, but we also have this momentum of transformation that we can see in ourselves and each other. And the last effing thing we want to worry about, because we see it so loudly, is what it looks like on the world stage, or what someone's trying to tell us it looks like as they try to tell
Yeah.
us what to do. So our fight is not with them, those that are us. There is no
Yeah.
fight. My focus now, our focus now, is to play with this and see what we can do, because we know we're not going to die. You know,
Yeah.
you only get
Yeah.
one chance to do it right the first time. I was told that a long
Man,
time ago.
yes. Yeah. Yeah. You know, the other thing I thought that was really cool when you were talking, when we were talking the other day, you were speaking about how, you know, over time you find yourself just being on camera, just, you know, having gone through all kinds of different experiences and just having things happen and not worrying about it anymore. And yet what I find so interesting is that this human conditioning at some point was, you know, you get on camera, you have to be a certain way. And I
Yeah.
realize these are all just beliefs, but I get the sense that with what you shared, and what I feel like you're living, and it comes across so powerfully, is you just, you know, you show up however you are. And I love it.
Oh my God, yes. Well, you said this earlier about your own experience, and I can't really recall the words, but I recall the energy of it. And so again, everything is, you know, I go back to the mirrors. Even when we're not thinking, even when we're totally in the shitter, you know what I mean? And I'm talking anger, or whatever, the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
We are still the universe, right? I mean, so everything is truly showing us something, right? So it's a reflection. So I look at this media as being a incredible um, physical representation of adding frequencies to an ever expanding vibration. And what I've learned, one of the things that I've really learned to appreciate about this energy that we've created, okay, is the fact that it is raw, and it's authentic, and it is spontaneous. And you know, like for the show, I don't ever talk to people before, even if they're famous people. I didn't talk to David Icke before he came on. I got
Oh
on.
yeah.
He said, "Hey,"
Wow.
and I said, "You ready?" Boom. You know what I mean? So yeah, but that again is not Soulogy. That's what we're doing. We're all becoming comfortable in our own skin, and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and, and I think what we're starting to get to is that uh, as we become more comfortable in our own skin, there's these higher skills and abilities and sensitivities that are coming on in proportion to the degrees that we rise. You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
so this is getting real interesting. And I don't think that like rational thought, logical thought I think it's going to be there, like logic and wisdom, you know. But this, what I'm seeing happening, what I feel in myself, what makes sense to me, and I'm not saying this is the gospel, is that we are beginning to run our lives in that field of intuition. That's, got the elements of the spontaneity and the creativity. This is the part of us that we've suppressed. We all know about women's intuition. We've heard about it since the caveman days. But did we run our lives on it? No. Now that's the patriarchal, right? So this is not a gender issue. We're talking energy. So now it's coming back. And I think that because of the fact that it's going to be more intuitive, more telepathic, we already have evidence of that, that it's part of our, part of our identification removal process is going to require the way that we have to understand things and figure things out and be right. I mean, they're all the same thing. Every day we wake up, the universe says, well, you're over here and we're over here, or you have the chance to go here. Would you like to go? And you can't go, okay. I'm going to go a little bit. No, it doesn't do that. It doesn't do that. There is no in between. And so every day I think, ultimately, if you want to put it that way, we're given a higher truth every day we wake up. I woke up this morning. I had a beautiful message from Morgan. It was a very deep message. It was a personal thing for her. It was amazing. And then I saw she did a post very similar. And immediately, I'm in another level, right? I wake up, I'm a little bit, and I see something like that. It could have been something else. Even in this moment, the same type of thing. And you just see it. You just see it growing. Look, I'm just happy to be here. Seriously. Yeah. I'm happy to be here because the truth is, I don't know if I'm going to be warm dirt. I don't know if this whole soul spirit thing is some kind of program and a simulation in a petri dish, on a speck of pepper on a fly's ass. I have no idea. Man. You know what I mean? But really, so I can work with the energy as a quantum creator and say, you know what? I'm in this game. I know what I know. I don't care what Todd says or anyone else. I'm going to create nirvana. Boom, go for it. Because that could be the difference right there. If you don't believe in yourself, maybe you do become warm dirt. But the whole point is it's now. It's now. It's every moment we have. We're making conscious choices to be in environments that we align to, and if you think about that happening on an individual level, and you look at a map and you see these people doing that, all of a sudden it goes from midnight to Las Vegas at New Year's Eve with every light in the city on, right? I mean, you get it?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. With all these conversations that you have, I mean, do you, I was going to ask you, I get the sense, but I don't want to assume anything, especially on a busy day when you're having, 3, 4, or 5 of these, in a day's time. Do you just find yourself literally kind of going, I mean, does the energy just kind of go through you? You're there, you have the conversation, and then you're on.
It's funny. It's funny. Up until about December of 2020, November, December 2020. Up until that point, and Morgan seen me do it many times. I'll be in bed, and it'll be 4 minutes to the show, and I will jump out, wet my hair, wash my face, grab something to drink, sit down, and I'll be bitching the whole time. Now this I haven't done in a while. This is why I'm laughing. And I'll be like, GD, yeah. Boom. How's it going, everybody?
Oh man, yeah.
But then so she would even, because she got to where she knew that was a given, and so it was probably like November or December. I remember I was laying down in the bedroom, taking a break probably between shows. And she came in and said, you have a show in 5 minutes or 3 minutes or something. And that was the first time I was like, I was pissed. I was like, how can you let me sleep that long? Well, obviously I'm projecting coming out the door, so I just heard myself immediately. But so I think there's been a huge shift since November, December, huge. And again, last month was be way beyond that. But something happened to where I started to struggle. And I think it mostly had to do with the physical body purging. But there was some type of relationship to the shows, and I became like, I think that's happened for a lot of us. The senses to the body is more acute. We have more clarity all the way around. So I did see a connection, and so I just, I think we backed it up a little bit. We're 2 to 3 a day, which is, I think our average has been about 2.5 a day. If you go back 5 years or whatever the case is, 2,800 episodes. But yeah, so sometimes it knocks me on my ass. Sometimes I'm flying. I've got to scrape myself off the ceiling. Sometimes I'm just like we all are. I just come in here, but I always ask for support, and I try to express our gratitude in just simple terms. Thank you for the love and support and contributions to keep us going every day, because it's a fact. And, and okay, if you would have told me 10 years ago, and I'm on the streets and I'm walking with Jesus and 6 ascended masters and these 3 spirit guides and all this stuff that's happening, which is again happening to everyone. I just didn't know it.
Yeah.
But if I got Soulogy, and they showed me, they said that for 6 months, they showed me this is going to be huge. It's going to be bigger than Elvis, bigger than the Beatles. And I'm like, I don't care. I mean, I'm a homeless guy on the street trying to get my shit together, right? But I also felt like something was happening, which again was a wake up experience. This was how the universe gave it to me, right? And it felt, like I said, biblical to me. Maybe that was because of my religious upbringing. I always identified with Jesus, or well, I don't know. But if you'd have told me as much pure, reckless faith I had, the one thing I was going to do was I was going to follow this guidance, and I would die for it. And I wrote it many times. People used to write me and go, "Why do you keep saying that?" I said, "Because it just comes out. I'll die for this. I ain't got a problem with that." But if you'd have told me then what it is now, I would have said no way. And the reason I say that is not because of the number of people, because in typical Soulogy fashion, we don't know the number of people. We got 100,000 hard numbers, but there's, I think, 500,000 people we reach a week. Now, 25% of those people engage us. So whatever the numbers are.
Yeah.
And so it's not about the numbers. The reason I say that is because to see something that actually runs on love, support, and in the physical contributions, because resources can come in many, many ways. We traveled 2019 here, didn't have a plan, didn't have a pot to piss in. We landed LAX on Lionsgate 2018. I'm getting old. 19. Within 24 hours, there was a checkerboard. You can stay here in Laguna for 3 days. You can stay here for a week, and it was like a checkerboard, right, all across the country. Yeah. So the supports come in many ways. But my point is, if you had told me that something like this could be created with no bullshit, with the straight trust the universe, don't make any rules in the group, don't take any hard stances. You're open. You're open. This tent, everybody's in, kind of thing. If you had told me that it would have occurred like this, I probably would have found it difficult. And I'm the ultimate optimist, because this is, to me, and maybe it's just me, but I see the power of it. It's not money. It's not. It's soul. What else can you say? I mean, and it's amazing. It's collective soul.
Wow. I got to tell you, brother, this is, man, this is, wow. Yeah, I'm at a loss for words. It doesn't come easy.
Well, that's right. And and that's great. I mean, seriously, one thing I've learned of the many, 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 many things I've learned in my relationship with Morgan, uh, I've learned in myself. I'm experiencing it, and that is the stillness, right? You just be,
Yeah.
think about it. Think about this. If you go back to all the sacred books, they tell you what: go within, go meditate, go sit under the right. Why wouldn't we do that with each other? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
If it works that way, why wouldn't we do? So you see that stuff that doesn't make sense, that isn't normal, coming into the field in physical representations, like the girls. What is it? Is it today? These calendars. Morgan, Yvonne, Melina Ferguson. They just came up this boom. Let's have a Zoom meeting. Technically it's a Zoom meeting. Let's have a Zoom conference, and let's invite whoever wants to come to show up in silence. Now, if you look at that from the typical, you're going, what do we? We're all just going to sit there. I did a show with a guy came on the show with me, and I don't know what was really happening. I didn't freak out or nothing. Todd had come a long way since the early shows, and he stayed quiet the entire time. He did not say one word. But that was a different story. But I think about what they came up with, and I think, well, wait a minute. First of all, we haven't tried it, right? You can't do anything that you've done before. You're talking about embodied human beings coming into let's just say a circle of life, right? With aligned intentions, no agenda, nothing to say, just to be there. Now, there's no book, there's no pamphlet, there's no guide, and I think about that, and I think, holy fuck moly.
Yes.
Like, we've all had these moments alone, and some of us have had them with a partner, like Morgan and I, and some of us have had them with small groups, or just these flashes of physical reality and non-physical kind of whatever, however you want to. But imagine this. This is, who knows what's going to happen, and that's the whole point. Because what is the womb? What is the holy darkness? What is creation? It is the void. We step into this life, incarnation after incarnation, within the incarnations itself, many times on an energetic level, you step back into the void. And why do we do that? Because we know, right? We know Mother Goddess. We know the kingdom. we are the, you know what I mean? I mean, so this is, and I think that's where we're at. You got this world, this patriarchal world that was constructed on, well, we got to do this and we got to do that, and we better watch out for this, and we better watch. And this energy is coming in, which I have to say is like the Mother Goddess energy. Is coming in and saying, okay, I've had enough of this. Everybody, chill out. Everybody's going to get the same number of hugs. Everybody's going to get the same number of love. Just chill out. This was all made for you. You know what I mean? It's so weird, because it's such a, by the terms of our experience, such a soft energy. But when you think of soft, you think weak. But no, it's not like that.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's not like that. It's like plasma. It's not going away, and it's thicker than water and air, and yet it's so foreign you can't even relate to it until you surrender. And how do you surrender? You just melt into it.
Oh man!
And to me, that's the same thing as going into the void. But it's, God. Where were you 5 years ago? Where were you 10 years ago? You know what I mean?
Man.
Where were you 2 years ago? Where were you a year ago?
Yeah.
So many people And it's not just where was I energetically. It's like, where were you living? What were you doing? He's just like, oh, it's like you can't even remember.
Yeah.
You weren't even the same person, right? So that's
Oh,
happening on an individual level. And regardless of all the topics of mainstream media or disclosure platforms or conspiracy platforms or even starseed platforms, regardless of that, it's happening. And so that what you said earlier, I go back to it, chill, really, not just
yes.
cliche new age chill. No.
Yeah.
Chill as in it's right in front of it's right in front of our faces at all times. The reverence, the honor, everything is there, and it's amazing. And I feel like it's somewhat happening naturally to all of us. There's no resistance in the universe. There's only resistance to it.
Yeah, man, and that whole thing about showing up too. I was going to say, I know like that, the new age chill thing, but what I feel like what the vibe or the energy that I'm getting from what you're saying about that is that it's also about showing up, right? Or you can chill, but also show up and be present, and
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that's a big part of it. So Morgan downloaded. I started downloading this. I think in 1999 or 2000. One of the things that she was shown early on was that we're in the age of duality, and we're moving into the age of Trinity. And so, Trinity's obviously the geometric shape. The triad, the two create the golden child energy and so on. I mean, this is nothing. Rumi wrote about this. I mean, it's okay, but there's a lot of truth to that. And she said a couple of months ago, we were just having a talk, and she said, so there's so many different triads that are comprising this new grid, right? And if you look at it like on a say, I don't want to say the most general term because there could be other triads, but that would be service to self, is what she said. Service to your brother and sister, and service to humanity. So when she said that, I was like, bingo, because I try to simplify things. So now, if I so I can actually serve all 3 points of that triad equally, every thought, word, and action. That's the goal. Can we do? Yes.
Yeah.
And where do you start with? You start with yourself, right? You start with yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. And so this is how we flip the matrix. We just gotta give ourselves what we've never given ourselves. I mean, again, the things that we haven't tried. So,
Yeah.
But then at the end of the day, and this is a true statement, and I've been saying it over and over, and I've heard other people say it. I wake up, I don't know nothing. It's a clean slate. That's how I put it. It's a clean slate, and you start your day. And what I'm noticing is it's a clean slate. You get up, you start your day, and then you start to get signs. You get a beautiful message from Morgan. You have a chill show with a really cool friend. You hit up Franco in 34 minutes and talk with Franco, and it just and it's weird because there's a part of the human going, I know I need to be doing something. I need to call my mother. I need to do this. I need to do that. I wonder what she's thinking. There's a part that is just getting softer and softer and softer. That's
Yeah.
And I've heard a lot of people say something very similar to that.
Yes, man, that really does resonate too, because I'm definitely sensing that. I'm definitely experiencing that. Mm. Yeah, it is definitely softening too. It really is.
I'm going to share something with you. So I haven't produced any videos or really done any much writing and the different things I used to do creatively, which I was telling you in so many words. I'd rather do that than do this. But now I like doing this, and I haven't done it for 2 or 3 years for a reason. So, and I have off and on. I just haven't been able to find a group. But since the Soulogy Fest is coming, I started I pulled out the video production software and I started playing with it. And the reason I'm saying this is because of what you were talking about, what Soulogy meant to you, or what it felt like, and all that. So I was making this video. I didn't know what it was going to be. I found some music, some kind of neoclassical music with a really powerful, kind of thing, really cool. I liked it. So I flip on the camera, I flip on the mic, and I just started freestyling.
Oh, wow.
So now it wasn't like a rap, but it was, whatever. It's whatever I want to do, right? It's a soul speak. So I did it. And then I went back to because so you put down a layer or a track of the music. I created a track with my voice. Now I'm going to go back and listen to it and adjust the volumes, and So I go back. Now this is 2 nights ago, or maybe 2 nights ago. I turn it on, and all of a sudden, I heard "Record the Rain." Right? So, but this is what I'm talking about. Okay. This is the whole thing in a micro, right? In a microcosm. So, so I went back, I stopped it, I put it back, I pushed record, and I turned the mic on full blast, which I forgot to turn off. And no wonder you could hear everything. I had that. So I turned it on. Now I'm speaking. The recorded the tape with the music, and I'm just recording the freestyle rain. Now up to this point, I hadn't heard any thunder or anything. So in the middle of this freestyle soul speak, at the right moment when the music goes up, this big ass thunder boom comes out.
Oh man!
Right? So I'm like, WTF, man. Like this used to happen. This used to happen to me all the time back in the studio. You'd finish I'd play an instrumental, and the last word, the last, sound out of my mouth would end with the music, or some crazy stuff would happen. But this was different. I didn't really have any, So I was like, okay, wow, that was really cool. And I'm supposed to put that out. And they're like, yeah, of course. And so I get some images, and I'm actually done with it. I just finished it right before we got on, and I put it all on there. And this is the point. So here's Todd, who's just a reflection of all of y'all, who steps into this space of stillness and solitude, who begins to collaborate with the universe. So And so then so in this Trinity energy, this thunder boom comes in the rain and the message. I'm to put this out. Now, that's one part of it. The other part of it is Todd's shaking in his fucking boots because he's scared to put it out.
Oh, yeah.
So the reason I'm telling you this story is threefold. One, the miraculous is here, and it's physicalizing. Two, I'm still shaking in my fucking boots. I have to admit that to myself as a human, because I love and respect and honor and revere this human. Am I in fear? No, I'm just scared. Yeah. Okay, so that's the second one. And the third one is so people understand, whether it's because Todd's a broadcaster, Todd's a producer. And you see him on the show. There are these people out there. They're like, that's one thing I always have to remind myself with Morgan. I'm like, man, she's like lit. Well, then I must be, or otherwise I wouldn't be here. But what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of people out there, and I think we've all struggled with, oh my God, they can do that and I can't. And so my point is this, right? I am equal to every human being. We come from the same mother. Every human being is equal to me. We come from the same father, right?
Yeah.
Don't ever think that whoever you're looking at isn't human and isn't struggling. And part of the reason I said this, and I'm happy that you let me do this at the end here, because I did that so I would put it out.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So you see what I mean? So, and if you really think about change, and you really think about growth, as we were talking about the abyss earlier, what is the holy darkness? What is the mother's womb? It's the void.
Yeah.
And if you really think about it, this is what we're doing over and over again. So if this is about embodiment and merging physical and non-physical, it makes sense to me. Jump off the cliff, right? Because you ain't going backwards, even if you want to. Man, I really
that's just an illusion, isn't it? Yeah.
Hey, we need to have a conversation, I think.
Yeah.
I feel it. How about you?
Yeah, absolutely, brother. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna have a conversation. I'll reach out to you tonight, or what is today?
I think it's Thursday. Last I checked.
Is today Thursday or Friday?
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Yeah, another week.
I thought it was Friday. I was making a joke. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'll get with you tonight, or the next day or two. Let's get together and talk about some potential things. How about that?
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. Yeah.
'Cause there's no mistakes. To be an hour and 45 minutes from each other. Because Oklahoma, Tulsa is Fort Smith to me. I had offices for years in Tulsa, and we ran from Oklahoma City to Fort Smith.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I want to tell everybody too. So ONEConsciousness deep. This isn't my show. This is your show.
No, this is great, brother. You're doing great, man. That's how it's supposed to be, right? You just do it. You
do it. You do. Well, this is a good chance for for you to tell people how to find you. What you're doing and all that stuff.
Oh, brother, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, the ONEConsciousness Deep Conversations podcast. And there's, on there right now, it's basically it seems like more people listen than watch, but it's basically, you can people can Google it by that name. Mm-hmm. And there's essentially conversations that I've had with healers, practitioners, people in the spiritual world, whatever you want to call it. I've been doing that since, spring of 2017. And that's basically, I kind of have two channels, so to speak. That's that one. And then the Inspiring Conversations podcast is a little bit more, it's not so much in this, I realize it's all one thing, but this is more, having conversations with artists, musicians, people, creatives, things like that. But the ONEConsciousness is really more focused, with people in the spiritual world, so to speak, practitioners, teachers, things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. But, well, and it sounds like you have the same kind of template we do, which is no script. And I like the fact that you have the two separated too. That was what I always understood about Solo. Kind of like, well, why are you giving me Soulogy One Studios? Well, I always understood that it had something. It had to do with, like, if you look at the Soulogy Fest, there's what is there? 39 hours total. Well, 20 of those hours are an open stage.
Oh, okay.
So to me, that's what where you've got that line of distinction. One side to me is, I would say, okay, like in other words, nonverbal. You may narrate something, like poetic, but it's like straight up energy, and I think that's a big part of what we're all stepping into, as well as we become more comfortable and potentialized, in the stillness that you were talking about. Dude, we'd love to collaborate with you. I'll reach out to you in 2 days, and Highway 40 is right down the road. I'm like a quarter mile from Highway 40. So
wow, you're right there.
Sedona, I'm sure on the way to Sedona, if I'm not picking you up, then then we'll stop and have a coffee or something.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you so much, man. And I really honor just you sharing today and having this opportunity to be here with you and for everything that you shared, man. This has been incredibly nourishing, man, and incredibly eye-opening and soul-opening. And yeah.
Well, that's cool, man. I appreciate it, and it's been an honor to be here with you. And I'm really happy to know you.
Man, right back at you, brother.
It's always nice to make the connections, and and you feel the kindredness. So that's very cool. Thank you for letting me be a part of it, and thank you for letting me produce your show and on the network. And I hope we bring you a lot of new followers.
Brother, thank you so much, man. It's been such an honor to be here on your network, man. This is beautiful. It's beautiful.
Take care, brother.